What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Bria and Friend, giving you that Friday energy on a Thursday. A little change up this week. We obviously usually put out our episodes on Wednesday, but we decided to release the Twilight episode early on Wednesday, do an episode for Thursday, and then we will have another episode tomorrow on Friday, as well as Bachelor recap on that episode and trivia. And we have a great interview on this episode. We will be doing a Bachelor recap on Fridays, our own Bachelor recap. That will not be Cutting Stems. We talked about that last week. Cutting Stems will be separate on YouTube, and then we'll do our own little Bachelor in Paradise / Golden Bachelor recap for the podcast.
With Golden Bachelor too, because we're not really covering Golden Bachelor on Cutting Stems.
Yes, so we will be talking about that on Friday's episode. So hopefully everyone is having an amazing week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Twilight episode if you got around to listening to it. Hopefully you're caught up. I see now that Twilight is free to watch on Prime Video if you are subscribed to Prime Video. Twilight, you can now watch it on there. You don't need to rent and buy. I saw people talk about other ways to do it, but I think that I found the easiest was
Prime Video is definitely if you have it.
Right, we have Prime Video. But this podcast is also presented by e.l.f. Cosmetics. Of course, we have all of our e.l.f. Cosmetics products sitting right next to us. Some of our favorites, the Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I really love this product because you can really mix it and do whatever you want with it, whether you want to mix that into your foundation, your contour. I like to put my foundation on and then put the Halo Glow Liquid Filter in the spots that I would put like a bronzer or a contour before I start doing those steps. And then, of course, I use my e.l.f. Cosmetics Beauty Wand Contour and Highlighter. I love it. I love it so much. It's pigmented. It works. It really gives you that great contour that you're looking for. And then, of course, we have the Power Grip Primer. I'm seeing a lot of people tag us in that people are loving the primer. They're like, this is to die for. And a primer is really important if you want your makeup to stay on all day long.
It's a great primer. Love it. There's the Power Grip Primer. They also have the pink Power Grip Primer plus the niacinamide, which is awesome. So whichever one you try, let us know because we think that they're absolutely amazing. I have been using the e.l.f. Cosmetics Lash and Roll Mascara. I have it on right now, the brown shade, which I'm loving. I think it's like a perfect makeup, not as sometimes like a lot of black mascara can be. I've actually never tried brown mascara until recently. I really like it. And just the mascara itself is great. So highly recommend checking that out. And you can learn more at elfcosmetics.com. Also check out the e.l.f. Cosmetics app.
Yes.
All great things.
And keep tagging us. We love seeing you guys using the products, buying the products. We absolutely love it. And thank you once again to all the people who came this weekend because it was very, very fun. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing week. How's your week going?
It's a good week. It feels like a long week. It feels like we've lived like 3 weeks in this 1 week. But now, like we switched around recording too. I'm like, what day is it? It's confusing
Feels like
me.
Thursday a little bit.
It definitely does. I went to see a Broadway show last night. I went to see Gutenberg the musical. Fantastic. I
haven't seen a Broadway show in a while.
I highly recommend this one. I think
Since the Jonas Brothers were in town.
Yeah, I think you would love this. I honestly think you and Matt would love it. It's hysterical. It's just Josh Gad and Andrew Rannells, I think is Rannells, yeah. And they were both, you have seen them, they're famous now, of course, but they were both in the original Book of Mormon cast. They became great friends. They wanted to do something together. So it's literally like a 2-man show about 2 best friends who want to make a musical. So it's like you go
I love that.
And they're pitching like to the audience their musical, which is about Gutenberg and the first printing press. And it's ridiculous. It's hilarious. They do scenes from like what would be Gutenberg the musical. They play, I don't want to give too much away because honestly, like the elements of surprise are very funny, but they basically on stage, they just have all these trucker hats with different names on them. And then they just put them on their head for different characters. And they do it. I mean, it's like a 2-hour show, which is, it's an hour 45, 50-minute intermission. Very impressive to keep an audience for that long, just two people, like nothing else. Of course, there's music and a band on the stage, but really, really good, really funny. I was laughing the whole time. And honestly, it was just also really funny to see the other people, like, not that theater people are serious people, but like, everybody appreciates the art.
Yeah.
And the laughter coming out of some of these people was just making me laugh. Like, they were guffawing. Like, they were laughing so hard at some of the things
like
that
they were like, this
like
is
some people were like yelling out
art.
like answers to things. Like, they were really getting involved. I think there's a lot of very like little sly musical theater jokes that they also put in there that people were appreciating, and really could not recommend more, honestly.
You got me wanting to see a Broadway show.
Yeah. I think this is a fun one too, because it's not like, doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of laughs. You're not like thinking, some crazy plot or something that maybe you think like sometimes they can become a little boring. I mean, I love musical theater. I love Broadway. I love going to shows. And I also have not been in a while. And when I saw this, I was like, this is a perfect one to ease back into going and hanging out and seeing a show is really great. They do it at the James Earl Jones Theater, which is small. Like, it's a very intimate theater. One of the smaller ones that I've been in for a show, which I loved because it's just like you're up close and personal. And I highly recommend. If you're in the New York area or making a trip, you should go see it.
I would love to be in a musical, but I don't have the talent, Like, I want to be on stage performing an act of some sort without the singing.
I feel like you could be like dancer, like a background, like maybe you don't have solos.
No.
But like you're in but you want a main part.
I want a main part. And the only main part I've ever had was King Louis.
Yeah.
And I'm still...
Wait, you play King Louis?
Come on, you know this.
I'm joking because you've said it 100 times.
I was going to say, wait a second. Are you opening this back up again?
What?
Now I'm the king of the swingers, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's
Just
what's
like
bothering me.
Just like riding a bike.
I want to be a man cub, and stroll right into town and be just like the other men. I'm tired of monkeying around. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. I want to be like you, ooh, ooh. I want to walk like you, talk like you, too, ooh, ooh. You see, it's true, ooh, ooh. An ape like me can learn to be human too. Snap-applause.
Snaps.
Yeah, see, like,
I hope everyone can hear my snaps.
Clearly, I don't have the talent.
I just said, but like riding a bike, I love that,
But somebody would take from that is going, no, she does not have the musical talent, the musicale talent for that.
What about a play?
That's what I'm saying, like theater.
That's what I'm saying. What about a play? There's no
a Broadway play with no musical element.
Yes, there's Broadway plays all the time with no music. I've seen a bunch.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I would crush.
It has to have something obviously with a comedic element.
Thanks for saying obviously. Oh my gosh.
I think I
could be also dramatic.
You can, but I think your bread and butter is comedy, girl. I think.
I didn't mean to do that. I know that high screech it freaks you out.
No, I like in that setting.
It's when you say something that like when it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Instead of oh yeah, like that's what comes out.
I think that's your bread and butter. So honestly, a show like this would be great for you if what they were performing wasn't a musical.
Right, and if it was only two cast members.
Yeah. And it's just a play.
For our live shows, I have, floated around the idea of us doing a little something rehearsed.
Yeah.
And I'm never greeted with too much excitement.
That, it's just not where I'm the most comfortable.
But you can be if you break out of your shell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess I also just have
You're comfortable on stage?
Yeah. Yes. But I'm comfortable on stage as me.
Well, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think I would be way less comfortable trying to like act.
Trying to be somebody else.
Yeah, like if you gave
Like
me a
if
character, I'd
I
be like,
give you
I'm
a
doing a
part?
terrible job.
Remember when we did
When we did improv, people
Improv.
loved it. People loved it.
Yeah, I guess like
Shut your mouth,
Yeah.
Andrew, and get back to work.
that's not even improv. That's just you changed the name to Andrew.
I don't scream at you to get back to work like that.
get back.
Did you print the papers?
Are we doing improv now?
You can't ask
No,
questions.
I know.
Don't ask questions. Did you
can't
print the
ask.
papers?
It's always an answer.
Did you print the papers that I asked you to print?
I actually didn't get to it this week.
You didn't get to it? What were you doing?
I was getting a haircut.
Damn.
Damn.
Too soon.
That was kind of perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I've floated around the idea of a dance number.
Yeah. Dance scares me the most. I would actually rather
silly dance.
I would rather act, I'd rather sing before I would want to dance on stage.
Beware to the people out there coming to one of our shows, which, by the way, Philly, Charlotte, their tickets still on sale. Come.
Yeah,
It's going to be a
please.
fantastic time.
We're about a week out from Philly
We are. Beware
of a dance number.
of a dance number coming to a city near you.
Sneaking up on us.
Sneaking up on you, per se. Just a solo dance number. Or maybe I have a partner. Maybe I have multiples.
Now,
Maybe
what
I have
if
a whole
I-
fucking crew
What if
coming out
I-
on stage.
Yeah, what if I just do like a costume change and I go into like a black onesie that basically I'm like invisible and I'll just carry two big spotlights and just shine them on you for your dance number.
No, that's not your role. Nope.
You know, I'm still that way. I'm still up there,
What if it's
but I'm not dancing.
What if it's like Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan, and you're in a chair, and
Okay.
I'm Jenna,
Okay,
and you're
so then
Channing.
I'm dancing on you.
No, I'm dancing on you. Remember when Jenna pretends to be Channing
Oh,
and puts him in the chair?
Yeah.
What
yeah,
if
Yeah.
it's like
Okay.
that, but less sexual?
Okay.
You know,
Sure.
performance for you and the crowd.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm drumming something up coming your way. Not for Philly. Not for Philly.
No, that's too close.
Too close.
You don't have time to
New York
to really,
tickets on Friday though.
The New York City tickets are on sale this Friday. Get them while they're hot. Get them
Yep.
hot off the presses.
Our biggest show,
It's our biggest show yet. So please come.
By
Yeah.
far.
please.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you guys there. These shows are going to be really, really fun.
Yeah.
And you know what? I won't bore you guys with the dance number.
Yeah.
She just went.
There was a sly wink there.
Um,
Noah, you went to John Mayer. How was it? I'm going tonight, so I can't report on it because,
I'm also going tonight.
yeah.
It was incredible. Shout out to what?
it was incredible.
So heartfelt.
It really was. Shout out to Natalie, this girl who gave me a great discount on VIP tickets up front. I don't know why she did, but she did say she wanted someone who like really appreciated him. So
Boy, does Noah just work the system,
Yeah.
you know?
I've never really been that close other than like when I went to the GMA concert with him, like when I was a kid in front row. But like being this close to MSG feels like surreal, you know?
Yeah.
It's
a good show to be super close to, obviously, because it's still,
Yeah,
just him.
and it's just him. And like I feel like when the lights go down in between songs, I'm like,
So
he's
he's
right
just-
there. I can see him. Like
he's just like doing this again, huh?
solo.
Yeah.
He did say, yeah, no, this is just like how we're doing the Humble Fans Fall Tour.
Yeah.
It's just what he's doing. He's just like
Right, he was just like, I'm doing
finishing
it
up,
again.
But he's doing
You know,
the
it's
same
like
cities.
like us. We're John Mayer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One and the same, really.
I actually was.
He's just one man on stage.
talking-
We're just two girls on stage.
Yeah.
I was talking to those girls and they were like, yeah, we want to make a sign, but like I don't know if it's too bright for him to see. I'm like, well, you know, the few times that I've been on stage at things, it is kind of bright. Like,
Oh my God.
no,
Oh
I
my
didn't do
gosh.
it seriously, but it was grand.
By
old
the way,
time.
our special guest is John Mayer for the New York City show.
Yeah,
Please don't take that seriously.
I brought my mom and it was a great time.
So I saw somebody take a picture. Was it Liam or
Yeah.
was it Jake Bass?
That was
Somebody
Liam.
posted a picture of you from the stands, and they circled it, and I saw you were next to a lady, and I wasn't gonna pry, but I thought to myself,
Oh, I thought you knew I was going to my mom.
No, I didn't know you were going with your mom.
I
But
did. That crossed my mom. That crossed my mind that, like, if you didn't know, it might have looked like a date or something.
Well, I was like, oh, he brought a lady, and I didn't pry. I didn't ask
That would have
questions,
been a
I thought that was
great
nice. But I also felt like you, like I would have known if you were bringing.
And also
a
I
woman.
wouldn't like do, like, I would have to be like in a relation, like to take them to John Mayer.
You're not just
Like-
taking any
like, 'cause,
girl
like,
to John
I don't
Mayer.
want-
I'm not taking any girl
It's
off
not-
the street
well, no, it's just like-
to
You
floor seats at John Mayer, babe.
For a date, you wouldn't
Not
take
like
a
a
girl to John
first
Mayer.
We
or
gotta
like-
be
Not
you gotta,
first, but, like,
you gotta
you're-
be wifed up. You gotta meet the family.
You're a
before I
couple
can take
dates.
you to see
You're a
John
couple
Mayer.
dates in. You're really feeling this girl.
Okay, it's more about like I need to feel like very comfortable because I don't need anyone like impeding on like my mindset and like even Trent today, because Trent's coming with me. He goes like, so what are we like? Are we singing? I'm like, when I go to concerts, like I'm in my own space.
This
I
is
will be
cracking
singing.
me up. Wait, so you're going with Trent tonight? Just you two?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are in the section right next to
I
me.
know.
Oh,
Do you?
There's a bunch of
The
other people.
change in tone
that was
from when
that was so funny.
From when Fran found out that you were in the section next to her to now just finding out
Finding out
that
that
Trent
oh yeah, I
is
was
in
like,
the
oh,
section.
Trent's-
Wow. Me, you, and Trent went to a John Mayer concert
my
once.
God.
we did.
The
And
day
you-
before
and
my
you filmed me
birthday.
the whole time.
And you were with your high school friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the crowd.
No, that's what Liam. He was like, I'm gonna be watching you the whole time, because like I did have friends like throughout the whole arena, and some of them could see me because I was like right up front. I did get on the big screen.
I saw you post that.
Because like I was front, and then the camera like swings around, and I saw it, and I was just like, I was on there for a while too. And one of my friends who was sitting like in
I'm
the way
so
back
happy for you.
section took a picture from his phone of
Oh,
me on the
really?
screen. I
That's
posted it on my
awesome.
Wow,
story.
are you afraid night 2 is not going to live up to night 1?
I mean, it can't like in terms of seating,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
everyone is like, oh, night 2's like when he really like.
Everyone
special.
always has an opinion
I
on
know,
which
I know.
night is better.
And he brought out like, cause you know, I'm always like, who's he gonna bring out?
Yeah.
Who do people? He brought out Steve Miller. You know Steve Miller,
No.
Steve Miller Band.
the Joker.
Oh,
Yeah, you know.
The Joker.
yeah.
Some people.
yeah,
call me-
yeah.
They sang that song,
I'm a joker.
and also he's Fly Like an Eagle.
I'm a midnight toker.
toker.
I used to think that song was so inappropriate when my dad would play it in the car because he says, "Really love my love my peaches, want to shake my tree." And like I remember my dad joking with my mom like in the front seat while playing it once, and I was in the back seat like,
Yeah.
you know, like I was like, "Oh my god, I know what that means."
Yeah,
Peaches tree.
Yeah.
Get it. Anyways,
yeah. What song are you most anticipating, or would you like him to play tonight?
I did look at what he played
Last night
last night.
he played Who
And I
Says.
don't think he played Last Train Home, right?
No, he did not.
Yes, I'm hoping he plays
Yeah.
Last Train Home tonight because I do love that one.
Any song where this just goes for any artist, but where there's a New York line or whatever city he's in, and that's in the song.
Yeah.
It's fun because like the whole crowd goes crazy when they sing New York.
You know, there is something very sweet about Noah when he speaks about John Mayer. You know, like it's
really
just,
delicate.
Just
That-
really, it's a beautiful relationship.
I said it to Kelly and
One-sided.
Tommy after like right after the Hosier concert, or maybe during it, and I'm like, isn't it nice like if you just look around, like it's an arena of like 18,000 people or whatever, and we all have something in common. Like every single person in this place has something in common.
Drake said that at his concert.
Did he?
He said like he was like, look at how many people are here, and like everyone's going through something, right? Like everybody in this place has something going on, but right now in this moment we all have like this in common.
Yeah, and like I just walking through the arena, I'm like, these are my people. Like,
That's-
look at everyone. Like, look at us.
Look
Like,
at
we all
us.
just love John.
That's beautiful. All right,
That is
let's
so
get
nice.
into the topics for today. We're going to be talking about the Love Island games. The cast was announced. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater are living together in New York City. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trailer was released, and Jamie Spears is now living with Lynn Spears, who also got voted off of Dancing with the Stars this week. And we have a great interview.
Spoiler.
Sorry. I mean, it's been everywhere.
No, it's honestly, there's so many headlines about it too.
Yeah.
So
And we have a great interview with Hilarie Burton Morgan, who is so lovely, so fantastic
interview.
to talk
Truly
to.
one of my favorite people that we have gotten to interview.
She's so captivating. All right, let's get into it, starting off the topics. Chicks in the Office is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you ever feel like your brain is getting in its own way? Like you know what you should do, you know what's good for you, but you just can't do it? Therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself. There's so many people in my life I know that have benefited from therapy, specifically BetterHelp. People have tried, and they love the fact that you can do this all online. You know, it's convenient for you, whether you can't get in the car to drive somewhere, you know, whatever it is, it's more affordable. BetterHelp is here to help you if you're starting to think about therapy. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suitable to your schedule. You can just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/office to get 10% off your first month. If you want to try BetterHelp, if you want to slowly start getting to therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Visit BetterHelp.com/office today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/office. Once again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/office. So the cast for the Love Island Games was revealed. I know people are waiting on the All-Star cast, but we have the Love Island Games. Maura Higgins will still be doing her social role for this show. And it's a good cast. We got to bring up the
I'm very happy with the group they put together. We have a mix of course, all different countries from the shows. So girls-wise, we've got Justine from the U.S., Kira from the U.S., Deb from the U.S., Zeta and Selly, and Courtney. Those are all U.S. Even though Courtney... Oh, no, also Imani. So 7 U.S. girls. Liberty, Georgia, and Megan from the U.K. Now, Liberty, I don't recognize. Is she an earlier season? I never watched season 1 or 2.
I didn't watch season 1 or 2 either.
Yeah, so I'm not, I feel like I don't recognize her. Georgia, of course, recognize, iconic.
Duh.
And also Megan. I Megan too. Loyal babe. And so they're the UK. Then we have Jess and Tina from Australia. Then they mixed it up a little bit. There's a couple other countries that, you know, maybe the folks in the US aren't watching as much. So there's Aurelia from Germany and Lisa from Sweden. And for the boys, there's Johnny Carrington Ray from US, Scott, who's taken every opportunity to be on whatever Love Island show will give him a chance.
Absolutely.
He went right from the UK. This man is clocking a lot of hours in Fiji.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, UK, they were in, where did they film? Spain, right? So it was like Spain, Fiji, back to Fiji, I think. So Scott's in this one. Then we have Toby, Curtis, Mike, Eyal, and Jack from the UK. Fantastic UK boys. I feel like they got better UK boys than they did UK girls. I mean, Georgia and Megan are great, but there's more.
I'm very excited
like
about Georgia.
Toby's a big one. He's, you know, out of that relationship with Chloe. Chloe, I feel like, is a UK star.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see her podcast clips on my TikTok like every day. You know, I just feel like she is very popular. So Toby's on here. Curtis is on here, who we have not seen in a long time.
I'm shocked by this.
Right? Like, I don't know what Curtis has been up to.
Yeah.
The thing about Love Island UK is you're so captivated by it for all the whole weeks that it's on TV. And then maybe you pay attention for like a month afterwards. Like, you see if couples are still together, if they break up, you see those news. But post 6 months, you know,
right?
There's only a select few that I follow on Instagram, and then after like a year, I'm like, why do I even follow them anymore?
The only one that I really keep, like Molly Bay and Tommy Fury,
Same.
obviously is like the one that I really keep up with, and Maura.
Yeah.
But like even Davide and Ekansu, like, are they together? Are they not together?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
break up, get back together every other month. I saw a clip of him the other day that was hilarious, but I don't even know what it's from. I'm like, and then I went to their YouTube and I was like, wow. nobody's really paying attention as
Yeah.
much as we were right when they first ended.
Yeah, I think that is normally what happens. And Mike is on here. Mike was great on his UK season. I really liked him. Eyal, who we all know because he dated, obviously he was popular on the show, but then he dated Lisa Rinna's daughter. Which one? Why am I spacing on her name?
Delilah?
Delilah Bell.
Yep.
And they were together for a while.
They were together for a while,
Yeah.
and Scott Disick was so pissed at how he was treated.
Yep. And then Jack from the UK, who I can't remember what season he was on, but his face looks familiar. Like, I don't think he made a big impact, but I recognize his face.
Who's Lisa Rinna's other daughter that dated Scott? Was that Delilah?
No. Delilah's the blonde, and it's an A.
I feel like I know this.
Why am I, what's happening right now that I can't remember these names? Dramatic pause.
Amelia,
thank you. Amelia Gray, come on.
Amelia.
Oh, because she has like two names, though, right?
Yeah.
Amelia Gray Hamlin. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Delilah Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Okay, and then from Australia, there is Callum and Mitch. Callum was a spitfire on this last season of Australia, I will say. Not the brightest bulb,
No.
for sure, but entertaining. Mitch is back again. You know, I think like there's certain people who they know they can call and will totally come back for
He's
another
been
TV
showing
show.
up for everything.
Mitch, he did 2 seasons of Love Island Australia. Now we're on for this. There are a couple crossover like couples. So like Mitch is on, Tina is on. So that's always interesting to see how that plays out. Johnny is on and Selly are on from US. So they clearly wanted to throw a couple people in the mix that like have a past to see what happens. And then there's also this man. Yeah. Then there's also this man, Steph, who's from Love Island, France. And that is the whole initial cast as of right now. And obviously, like, I don't really know we don't really know the full structure of the show, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, are new people going to come in?
Right,
I don't know. Like, are there going to be bombshells? Are there not?
So I'm interested in this because we have heard about the Love Island All-Stars, and you would think that some of the people in this would be considered All-Stars, like Georgia and
Totally.
Megan and Curtis.
I
So
think Toby could even be considered an all-star.
yeah, so I'm very interested to see the structure of what the games is going to consist of, and like, are they even going to be dating? Like, what's the end game here?
Yeah.
And because it's very similar to what I imagine the All-Star version is going to be, except I think this requires probably a little bit more challenges and a little bit more activity. I think that's probably the main difference, but I'm excited to see what happens. I think that more Love Island shows, the better, especially when you get to know the people and you don't really see them again. Like with The Bachelor, when we get to see people over and over again and you get attached to people, you get excited to re-see them. Doesn't happen often with Love Island. So
Yeah.
I think that's why people are excited for these shows.
Yeah. Anytime you bring, like, when you have enough, when the pool is big enough that you can get these people to come back and do new shows, it's always good. And I think it's like, you see it works for all the other formulas too. Challenge All-Stars, Big Brother All-Stars, Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Like, when you bring back people that everybody know and put them together, it's entertaining. I agree with you on, like, I don't really know what is Love Island games look like versus Love Island All-Star. Is Love Island All-Star just like a normal season of Love Island, but with people we all know? Like, I'm not quite sure how that set is going to be set up, but Maura is going back to do, I guess, like, be like the social ambassador, correspondent, whatever you want to call it, for Love Island Fiji, for Love Island games. So it'll be interesting. Maybe she'll get to interview Curtis on his way out.
All right, moving on. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater are living together in New York City.
These two are living their lives.
The thing is, at this point, they might as well.
Yeah.
And I guess they got to give it a shot.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, though, like, he has a kid. So now I'm like, ooh, this is dicey. they're living together, and obviously the ex was not happy with what happened, and now they're living together. The kid gonna stay there? All that is like, I'm sure they're working out, but they're going for it. They are definitely
these
going
crazy
for
kids. Ethan informed his friends and soon-to-be ex-wife that he's living with Ariana full-time in New York. A source told Us Weekly. They're really happy and really good for each other. All of her friends love him, the insider continued. So they're definitely trying to put out positive vibes around the couple. I feel like anytime we see their names, it's like they're hanging out. Her family loves him. Oh, now they're living together. Her friends love him.
They're in Disney World.
Yeah. The happiest place on earth. Yay, happy.
I saw some AI pictures of Ariana Grande walking down the aisle with SpongeBob.
What?
On Twitter. And
How do
I
people
just
come up with this
I just
stuff?
minded my own business. I kept scrolling. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even share with anybody. I was like, oh, I gotta just carry on with my day after seeing that. But yeah, they are living together in New York City. That's all really we could say. It's like, all right, they clearly feel this passionately about each other.
Yeah.
Let them live together. See what happens.
I wonder, I have no right to know this, but I wonder where. Just out of curiosity, because there was a time when Ariana and Pete Davidson were living in that really funky building on the High Line.
I assume
That was
she was
like,
still there.
what?
I assume that she was still there.
I don't know. Is that the same? Would it be the same place? I don't know. Maybe I feel like you'd want to live somewhere new with a new guy, you know?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't really care where they're
wasn't
living
that
in.
her-
Like,
It's like my own personal interest in just New York real estate, you know?
But wasn't that her apartment that Pete just basically just moved into?
I think so, yeah.
So then it's like, if it's your apartment.
yeah, but you can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
I
not
just
gonna
I
have
think
another.
she sold it. I'm not positive on that, but I think she sold it. But it's a really funky building on the High Line. That's like the mirrors on it looks like a spaceship,
Right.
honestly. But yeah, look, they're putting their all in this.
They are, and they might as well at this point.
Yeah. Chicks in the Office is brought to you by Body Armor Light, a natural, low-calorie, low-sugar hydration drink. Whether you're looking to stay hydrated or recovering from a long weekend, Body Armor Light has you covered. Real hydration, real ingredients, packed with electrolytes, vitamins, and nothing artificial. Body Armor Light has great tasting flavors like peach mango and dragon fruit berry. The dragon fruit berry I have in my hand right now. It is delicious, natural flavors and sweeteners, coconut water, electrolytes, antioxidants, B vitamins. Body Armor Light is the low-calorie, zero-sugar added sports drink with natural flavors, natural sweeteners, and no colors from artificial sources. This flavor is great. I recommend, you're looking for a little extra hydration. Maybe you've had a long weekend. It's a Sunday. You need to, got to get those electrolytes up. So Body Armor Light is available in stores nationwide, but you can head on over now to the Body Armor store on Amazon and get yours today.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trailer. This is going to be an exciting season. This is going to be a good season. Beverly Hills is always good.
Yep.
But I think people are really excited about this. And of course, no Lisa Rinna.
Yeah. Which clearly they still find ways to fill that gap,
Yep.
Because obviously there was no way Denise Richards would have agreed to come back on if Lisa Rinna was still on the show. So there's like a clip of Denise coming back, and she also hit like a very, I think she called Erica evil or something. Like there was like you're an evil person, something along those lines. Erica, I think, is probably defending her friend. She and Lisa are very close. As far as like the other stuff that's not Kyle, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with Erica, because of course last season was really a tough hit for her. I feel like legally she has been vindicated, I guess, is kind of like the word. There hasn't been any legal legal consequences for her. You can judge her actions and the things she said about it and things like that. But like legally, I think she's going to come back and be like, I told you, and I know I think she's back doing her show and like all these things, so she's probably pushing all that. But Kyle, there was one part of this that I went, whew, and it was they were having a conversation and Mauricio said something about like, oh, like at least it's joking, like, oh, like at least it's you like being the one out there having the affair, you know, like, and she kind of like she snapped and was like, yeah, for once it's me. And I was like, uh-oh, that is some underlying meaning there. Because I feel
We've
like
seen the rumors.
Yeah, there's always been rumbles of Mauricio dabbling in extracurricular activities.
Yeah. Oh, he's at the bar with a young girl.
Yeah. And they've always been like brushed under the rug or just ignored because you see them on TV. You're like, oh, they're so happy. Like they're good. Now they're not so good.
No.
But I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be interesting to watch. I feel like it also might be a little frustrating because it seems like the other cast members are getting frustrated too of like what's happening. And they're like, this Morgan girl, like what's going on? And I don't know if Kyle's necessarily giving answers.
Yeah, I feel like with Beverly Hills, we've talked about it, how they're a little bit more buttoned up when it comes to issues that they're having. But then once it's reached a boiling point, they cannot control it. It's like, all right, whatever's going on is going to come out. You got, like, you're on a reality show. You can't hide it much longer. Yep. It's kind of how I felt about the D'Amelio show. So we talked about this. They were talking about, there was something that happened and they kept like alluding to it. And then on the most recent episode that just came out, they talk about how like they were thinking about getting divorced. Like Mark was feeling really lonely when Heidi was on Dancing with the Stars and his kids they moved out. And it's like, it's clear they didn't want to talk about it. But when you're doing a reality show, there's a line where it's like, when you're a celebrity or an actor or whatever, and you're in the public eye, but your life is in a reality show, then it's much more understandable when people go, oh, we don't know all the details about their life. They're trying to keep it private, But then when you are doing a reality show and like your job is technically your life, then people feel the need to pry more because they're like, well, this is a reality show, isn't it? Mauricio and Kyle, what's going on, Yep. And so I think that's kind of like what's happening here with them, where it's like they didn't want everyone to know what's going on, and now it's more and more is coming out, and I'm sure they've been filming this whole time. So
yeah, I agree, and there'll definitely be drama discussions about it. It did make me sad to see like them having conversations with their daughters, and like that's obviously very hard because it is very public, and their daughters are older. Besides, Portia's still pretty young though, so that's tough. And it's clearly like the main focus of the next season, I feel like. So that's a lot of attention.
Right. Beverly Hills is always good though, and I'm excited for that to come back. Last topic, Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears' dad is now back living with Jamie Lynn. There was a stretch of time where we heard about this family constantly, the battle they were having, how much of a piece of shit Jamie Spears is. Now he's back living with Jamie Lynn.
Yeah. It seems a little iffy. We haven't really gotten clear answers where like everybody has stood. I feel like there were some moments with Britney posting that she was talking to Jamie Lynn. So there was
and her mom.
Yeah, there was a conversation that I think like Britney and Jamie Lynn were speaking, but now he's back. Jamie has since been living in a guest house since leaving rehab in July. He apparently is a terrible drinker. Jamie just got out of rehab but is already drinking again. Which worries Lynn and Jamie Lynn. You really kind of forget about the name thing until you're all reading it at once,
They combine their names
like
together to make their kid.
Yep. This was a Daily Mail exclusive report. It says, however, Jamie Lynn's concerns have not prevented her from allowing her father to get involved with her children, with the insider adding that Jamie has been helping to look after his granddaughter while the Zoe 102 actress was traveling for Dancing with the Stars. Not anymore. The girls So Jamie was, I guess, living in the house in Louisiana, and Jamie Lynn's decision to welcome her father into her home has done little to mend her already fractured relationship with her sister, who they said is extremely bothered by the setup. This obviously infuriates Brittany for so many reasons. The insider claimed she feels betrayed that her sister's putting up her dad and allowing him to watch her kids after what he did to her. She cannot believe that Jamie is caring for Jamie Lynn's daughters when he was partially to blame for Brittany's falling out with her 2 sons. And that's, Brittany has an estranged relationship with them as well. But it sounds like there was maybe a time when Brittany and Jamie Lynn were speaking. That was like at the beginning of the summer in June. It seemed like maybe there was a rekindling, and that's gone to shit, allegedly, because Jamie Lynn has taken in Jamie, which is super fair. I mean, it seems like Brittany and Jamie Lynn, and we've known this from the beginning, have very different relationships with their parents. Mm-hmm. They're 2 very different people, 2 different kids.
Brittany's both treated differently.
Yeah, Brittany's dad treated Brittany entirely differently, and I think Brittany's dad saw Brittany as just a giant bag of money, and maybe he could actually have more of a fatherly role with Jamie Lynn because he wasn't profiting off of her as much as he was Brittany.
Well, maybe he saw that Jamie Lynn was going to be on Dancing with the Stars and thought, ooh, money grab. Let me get some of that. I'm going to move right in. And then she got voted off in her second week.
Yeah, this was tough, I will say, Dancing with the Stars. And I talked about this last week, or whenever I talked about it, Monday last week. They stopped the judges' save for the bottom 2. So it was always public voted, then it went down the bottom 2, and then the judges would save. And that helped with it being less of a popularity contest. And more like, based on the dancing. And they took that away, and we're back. And this was the exact results that you'd imagine, like Lynn Spears going on a show that's voted by the general public. And, she's not great, but she's not terrible. She was definitely not the worst one. Mm-hmm. But the votes were not there for her, and she was sent home. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that it just goes back to being a popularity contest.
It is kind of crazy that the dancing show where you're supposed to be a great dancer, if you have everybody voting for you, you can make it far as like an extremely shitty dancer.
Yeah, that's why they did the save. I mean, there was, go back to Bobby Bones.
Yeah. Remember we talked about that on our radio show, and then he talked about it on his radio show.
Yep.
That was like 2018.
That was, I mean, look, that's like, it really was, if your fandom was strong enough, didn't matter how you were dancing, you would get voted through. In the last few years, they changed that, and then now they've gone back. I don't know what the thought process was there for doing that, but I mean, I'll be honest, like, everybody has extremely strong opinions about Jamie Lynn. I understand that, but like, I felt bad for her in that moment, because that's like, you know what people say about you online, and you hear it and you see it, but to like go on a competition show and like have that result be thrown in your face of like, wow, no, really nobody voted for me. Like that sucks. Like that's unfortunate. Yeah. And I don't think she necessarily deserved to be sent home at this time.
Like she was better than other people.
Yeah. Like maybe she's a week 3, week 4 exit, not a week 2 exit.
Yeah.
So that's too bad for Jamie Lynn, but she's got good old dad to go home to, I guess.
Right. But now dad's like, shit, she's not going to get that prize money. She's not going to win Dancing with the Stars. What am I doing here?
Yeah. I mean, that's another reason, right? Like on top of leaving the show, you're going home, you're taking care of your father who is clearly not in great condition.
Right. Not good.
No.
Not good at all.
Nope.
All right. That wraps up today's topics.
All right, we have an awesome interview with Hilarie Burton Morgan coming up. But first, guys, we are fully headed into fall. I've got a nice, cold, crisp Coors Light in my hand, but fall doesn't have to be the buzzkill to your summer chill. Coors Light helps you find moments to unwind. Maybe you have a big work presentation. Follow it up with a happy hour, some friends, and a cold Coors Light. Decompress with a relaxing day on the trail that ends with a well-earned Coors Light. Whenever you need to hit reset, reach for a Coors Light. It's made to chill. It's the only beer out there literally made to chill. The mountains on the bottles and cans turn blue when you know it's time to drink. Your beer is cold, ready to go. You always know when it's time to chill. So when you need to hit reset, just open a Coors Light. It's Mountain Cold Refreshment. For me, on the weekends or headed into Thursday, head into the weekend, you can have a nice cold Coors Light. Do a little crack. This is going to crack in the microphone. It's going to sound nice. Yes, crisp. And just sit back, relax. Maybe you have plans on a Saturday. You're going out to a bar, have a nice Coors Light. Maybe you're hanging at home on a Sunday. You just got some football on. You reach into your fridge. You grab a nice cold Coors Light. So that's why Coors Light is the one we choose when we need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Jersey or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/chicks. And always celebrate responsibly from Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right, everyone, we are joined by the lovely Hilarie Burton Morgan in person. We're so excited to have you here. The last time we talked to you was over Zoom. We're happy to have you in studio. We're going to talk about your new book, Grimoire Girl. I have, that's like a tongue twister for me.
It is. Yeah, I noticed the other day as I started doing press that rural diaries, rural's a hard word. We can make fun of this. Grimoire. Right. Everyone looks at me like, that's really what you want to do?
Yes. I was practicing before you got here. I was like, grimoire.
If you say it with a fancy accent, it's easier. This is my grimoire.
Yeah. This is her book, Grimoire Girl.
Yeah, get fancy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're super excited to have you in. The book is awesome. How would you describe the content of the book? Because you jump around to a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different great things in there, but it's kind of tips and tricks, but also storytelling.
Yeah, so a grimoire, when I first learned what that word was, it was a book that a witch kept. And it was the thing people would go and look for in their house to prove they were a witch so they could kill them. And this idea that a book could be so dangerous, a book of life-saving wisdom, is something that was so important to a woman that she would risk her life to keep it. A grimoire it's a book of the life-saving knowledge you collect throughout your entire life. And it's not dangerous, That's something that has been vilified. Women have been vilified. And so to take that power back and say out loud, I'm going to write a grimoire and I'm going to share it with everybody, is an act of rebellion in and of itself. But it was important to me that I collect the elements of magical thinking that have saved me throughout certain dark periods in my life, whether that's complicated work situations or pandemics or just personal lows. I went through a number of miscarriages that I wrote about in my last book. Being able to frame those dark days in a way that brings light is really, really important. And so I wanted to talk about those tips, but also show how they have actually worked in my life through writing memoir. So it's a collection of essays. It's split up into 3 different little chunks for the 3 different homes that I've lived in. My childhood home in Virginia, and then the haunted house I lived in North Carolina, and then the farm where I am now in New York.
It's fun to go through it all. I loved what you said about everything that you wrote about your childhood home too. It's then you were there till high school, but then when your parents moved, it was well, that's now my parents' house, and that's not really my home as much anymore. My parents sold our childhood home a few years ago, and my mom really, she was super happy about it because the family that moved in is amazing, and she was so excited for them, but she follows them on social media. And my mom will send things to me and my sister being oh, look what they did to the living room. And we're no, shut our eyes. So when you said that you were offered to kind of go in and look around, it was no, I want to remember it as it was. And I was I felt that so deeply because as my parents were packing everything up, I made one last trip when the house was still the same. Yeah. And then I was sorry, Mom, I'm actually not going to help you because I don't want to see the house empty.
No, I'm still a sucker for wall-to-wall carpet, man. Yeah. We have to travel all over the country for work, and my husband will go do a movie somewhere and I'll follow him with the kids, and if I can find an Airbnb, a VRBO with wall-to-wall carpet in the living room where I could just stretch out,
right?
I
love it.
It makes you feel comfortable when you're away from home. You're like, wow, I feel like I'm home again.
Yeah, and the home of my childhood, because those are certain like design elements that no one does anymore.
Yeah.
And I love it. I want to feel like I'm 10 years old with the carpeted stairs and like the ugly appliances.
I remember the day that we got rid of our carpeted stairs. It was a big day. Oh, but we were like, oh my God, we're getting wood floors.
We're fancy.
Yeah, like, oh my God, we made a little extra money this month, huh?
Highfalutin, man.
No, I loved it. I thought that was great. So you transitioned through all these different locations. The North Carolina house.
Yeah.
Was that scary? Or like I'm reading, because I don't know, sometimes I kind of go through like, do I love or hate the idea of ghosts?
Yeah.
And that felt a little like in a happy ghost, but maybe there's some not so happy ghosts
So
out
there
there.
were a number of them in that house.
Yeah.
When I first bought it, I remember I needed the inspector to come and look at the house and sign off that it wasn't going to like cave in on me. And so this home inspector came over, and I'd already been living in the house as a rental property for like 6 months. And so I was used to it. Candles had been lit already. We'd already heard voices in the house. Like it was normalized for me. But this big burly dude is walking through the house with me, and it's broad daylight. And we're in the kitchen, and we both hear this dog growl from the dining room, and I ignore it because I know what it is. And he is like, oh, I didn't know that you had a dog. Do you want me to close the door to the back porch so he doesn't get out? And I was like, there's definitely not a dog in this house. And he said, oh. And he got up and he left, and he went and he did all the rest of the paperwork for the next hour in his car. So he's like, I don't want to be in this place. And we would hear, like if you sat on the front porch, you could hear the nails of a dog like jumping up onto the windowsill from the inside. Like, when dogs are like jumping out the window. Lots of people heard this. And the deal is, the woman who lived in my house, who didn't die until like the 90s, like just a couple years before I moved in, she would get the same dog over and over again. It was a Boston Terrier. And so in doing research for this book, I was looking up her and all of the artwork that she had, and I found a painting that she'd done of her dog. And it was like, this is my ghost dog.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see in real life.
Yeah. What was the first experience you had in that house where you're like, okay, there's things happening here, and I'm going to be okay with it?
It was the very first day. The very first day that we moved in. It was my dad and my brother and my boyfriend at the time, and then one of my coworkers, another guy named Bill. And so it was all dudes. And my neighbor had come over and introduced himself. He was this super sweet man, Rabbi George. He looked like Santa Claus, and he came over and offered to let me cut flowers from his garden anytime. And he was like, I've been feeding the cats on your back porch, like if you want to take over that job, I've got the food. He was just so lovely. And so we unpack, and I take a bathroom break at a certain point, and I go into a bathroom that's pretty central in the house downstairs. And all of a sudden I hear like the footsteps of all the dudes racing over to the bathroom door, which is like, I don't want them to hear me pee.
Yeah.
I open the door, and they're all standing outside, and they're like, who are you talking to? Did that George guy come back in through the back door? I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
And they were convinced that he had come back in, or that I was talking to a man in the house, because they had all distinctly heard a deep man's voice coming from where I was. And so then later, as I lived in the house longer and started talking to more of the neighbors, it became apparent that the woman, Hester, who haunted my house, was known throughout the community for having this deep, booming voice. And I found her obituary at the public library. And in it, she was described as gruff and wonderful, because she was just like a grumpy, spicy lady.
Yeah.
So that
Gruff
gruff
is-
voice. Can you imagine dying
Yeah.
in your town, memorializing like as gruff and wonderful?
And wonderful.
Totally wonderful, but gruff.
I'm going to get that tattooed.
Yeah.
Gruff and wonderful.
So I think that's such an interesting way to look at that experience, because normally you would hear about that, right? Somebody moves into a house, they find out it's haunted, they're hearing these things, they're like, I need to get out of here
Packing their stuff
immediately.
up.
Like, I need to get the fuck out of here. And you kind of like embraced it, and I
It became a project.
Yeah. I think that like you said about grimoire, it's has like a negative connotation to it. And the same thing I feel like happens with ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Because not all ghosts are bad. Like there are spirits around us that are just hanging out in my eyes.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's sometimes nothing to be afraid of, although maybe there are times to be afraid.
Listen, so like Hester wasn't in my bedroom. Her mother, I guess, died in my bedroom and was terrorizing my boyfriend at the time. Like apparitions all the time. Like really, really scary. I would wake up every once in a while to my hair being pulled, which is a weird way to wake up.
Yeah.
And
Wake up, Hilarie.
I thought I was losing my mind. And it was so validating that other people would come in and have similar experiences.
Thank God, that's what you need.
Yeah, because you sound like a crazy. I sound like a crazy person right now, 20 years later, talking about it.
Because they're like, wait, she stayed?
Yeah, for like 7 years. And so when you tell people stories, you're really boiling it down because you're telling 15 stories, but they happened over the course of 7 years.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a constant barrage of poltergeist activity.
Hey, it builds character.
It really does. And it was a great barometer for who I actually wanted in my life, right? Because she would kick people out.
Yeah.
Like my brother brought a chick over to make out one day while I wasn't home, and they were kissing in one room, and they heard this loud crash in the front parlor. And they go in there, and I'd had this big framed picture on the wall, and the nail's still in the wall, and the picture is in the middle of the room, not broken, the string isn't broken. Like, she just wanted that girl out of the house. So.
That is so funny. I've had chills for like the past 10 minutes of you talking about this.
You got to live in a creepy place at least once in your life so that every other place you move into, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like the bar set so low.
The farm is a dream.
Yeah, the farm's so easy.
Because and like even just still history-wise, witchcraft, there's just that term in general has always has like you're like witchcraft, like come on, you know.
So what was really important to me in this book is that I cite all the other books that have influenced me right at the beginning, because people ask all the time, they're like, well, what should I be reading if I'm interested in this? And so there's a list in there, and one of the books in there is about midwives being described as witches. And so there was a movement in Europe where all the noble families had run out of property to give to the sons. And they're like, how are we going to take care of these dudes? I don't know. We'll create medical schools and we'll make them the town doctors. So all these rich boys went to medical schools and learned like riffraff, leeches and shit, you know? And they would go into these small towns thinking that they were going to be welcomed like kings. And all these villages were like, no, we've got this lady over here that's been taking care of us for generations. She's good, and she actually knows what she's talking about. Right. And so the way to remove the trust that the communities had in these women were to vilify them as witches and say, no, they're possessed by the devil. And when you read those historical accounts of how it all played out, it's still happening in our country. You know, when I told people that I was using midwives, they were like, oh, ooh, it sounds scary.
That's so interesting.
Right? Yeah, it's, you know.
What is your favorite form? I guess, you know, you talk about candles and like what's your preferred act?
Yeah, I mean, I like fire.
Yeah.
I like a tangible transformation.
Yeah.
And also I think whether it's placebo effect or it's real, when my husband walks in the house and he sees candles lit, he's like, cool. All right, things are up. My kids all know. They're like, Mom's lighting candles. She's getting weird. I like a tangible transformation, and I think it's good for your own mind to sit with something in that moment. So if you are going to sit with, you know, a small candle while it burns down and really just concentrate on what you want, it's mindfulness.
Yeah.
You know, you can call it witchcraft, you can call it mindfulness, you can call it meditation, you can call it praying, you can call it whatever makes you comfortable. But the practice of sitting in your own space and really going through the steps of saying, this is what I want, this is how I want it to happen, and these are, you know, this is the energy I'm going to put out into the world is important. And so I like lighting candles and putting a pin through them. And if the candle burns down so that the pin drops, it's a good indication that it's going to happen. If for whatever reason the wax melts in a weird way and that pin just gets stuck, it's time to move on. So sometimes the universe will send you happy little hints.
It's interesting how like so many people have different methods, right? So like you like candles, you know, people love crystals. Like anything, you know, if there's a full moon, right? Like put your crystals out, charge them. Like there's so many different methods, like you said. And it's interesting how you mentioned that they're each called something else, like whatever you want it to be called, but everybody has the same idea of why they're doing it. It's like they want to bring something to their life in a positive way, but it could be called so many different things because like I'm a crystal girl, like I have my crystals, and like I said, like
what's your favorite crystal?
Well, I have a lot of like rose quartz, which is just nice, like love, happy.
Girl.
Have
you seen those bathtubs made out of rose quartz?
No.
Like every once in a while on Instagram, they're like, here's an entire tub made out of crystals. And you're like, God.
I had one for so long that I felt like genuinely had power. Like, you know, you just like feel it was a clear quartz. And I just, something about it, I carried it with me everywhere.
It was always in her purse.
And like, I just think, like, I just felt like it really just brought me great things. And now I don't have it, and I just felt like it like did its purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's it. So I wore like a ruby for a very long time on my pointer finger because I really needed to tap into like my bitchy, divine, feminine energy. And that is the year that like I made a lot of things happen. And then one day I woke up and it had just completely fallen out of the setting. And I looked there was no place it could be. It just turned into mist.
right.
And I didn't need it anymore. I didn't need to be aggressive anymore. It was time for a new chapter.
It's so interesting, like when those things happen, because I had a carnelian bracelet.
Yes.
And I wore it every single day with the rose quartz bracelet. Wore them every single day. And then things were going great. And then one day I just fell off. Like I just was like going like this, right? And it just fell off. And I was at first so freaked out because I was like, wait, I've worn this every single day. Things are going so great. Now that I'm not wearing it, are bad things going to happen?
Right.
And I did all this research and it was like, no, like it's done its purpose. The energy is used up. That's why you don't need it anymore.
You're free. You did it. Congratulations.
But I think it's like goes back to what you were saying. Like there's just people just have different methods, but they all kind of go back to the same thing.
Yeah, and if you're lighting candles at, you know, in the church,
Yep.
right? If you're saying the rosary, I grew up in an evangelical church, and so I'm no stranger to devout Christianity, and was the kid that did like Jeopardy Bible study on Wednesday nights, you know? And what was crazy to me as an adult is the more curious I got about these other areas and the more permission I gave myself to explore them without feeling like I was going to burn in hell.
Yep.
The more similarities I found between what I had been taught as a kid and what all these other practices were encouraging. So
It is, and I love that sense of just general spirituality, whatever it is. And you list a bunch of different gods and goddesses, but from all different areas, right? From different cultures, different times. A saint, saints, like the
saints are all
you can touch,
pagan gods that they were like,
touch different areas.
We can't get them to stop worshiping these guys. We should probably just make them saints. That sounds cool.
So it is like, it has a great general touch too. So I feel like that's nice because you're not. It's a book, like everybody can enjoy it. It's not like leaving anybody out or thinking, oh, that I wouldn't like that because that doesn't have what I believe in there. And it has like it has everything.
It's a buffet, man.
Yeah.
Like that's one way. I have a friend who's Jewish and he was making so much fun of me because he was like, hell, it seems like you and all the Christian chicks that have like grown up are all like just picking and choosing from a buffet what you want to put, like salad bar style, what you want in your spirituality. And I was like, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, Dan. Like, that's it.
Yep.
Pick and choose what feels good. Because we've been for, centuries told we're evil incarnate and we're not.
Yep.
So we get to do the picking now.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously this is also nonfiction, but I did see that maybe there's gonna dabble in fiction?
Yeah, I mean, so what's interesting about this book is I started writing this in my early 20s. And it was like I had to collect like 40 journals over the course of my life to compile into this. And in all of that searching, I also found about 40 books worth of short stories and fiction. And writing fiction was always that kind of daydream that I had as a kid. Right? Like I was winning awards for writing fiction in 4th grade and thought like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And, you know, acting opened a lot of doors for me and I'm really grateful for it. But I'm also at a phase where I'm like, I'm a PTA mom. I really need to be able to work and take my kids to theater after school and do all of that stuff. And so it feels good to put this out into the world and encourage the fiction and nonfiction side of it. And start to move into that fiction zone so that other people can act out the stories. Other people can produce the stories.
Yeah.
You might have a busy season coming up. Fall can get busy. You know, people take it slow during the summer, then things ramp back up. And with the busy fall season, already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. If you're too busy to cook, but you want to make sure you're eating well, with Factor, you could skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the prepping, the chopping, the cleaning up, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. You can choose from 35 plus weekly flavored, packed, fresh, never frozen meals that promote a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, all ready to eat in 2 minutes. You can level up also with the Gourmet Plus options prepared to perfection by chefs and ready to eat in record time. Treat yourself to upscale meals with premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus. This October, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/chicks50 and use code chicks50 to get 50% off. That's code chicks50 at factormeals.com/chicks50 to get 50% off. You mentioned being a PTA mom, and when you first came in, you were like, you know, I was here, then I had to drive back, then I came back. What's it like being a PTA mom?
I was trying, listen, I have my phone with me. I was trying to dry my hair to get over here, and I was trying to answer all these like, it's PTSO. PTA is like a branded club.
Right.
We are PTSO, Parent Teacher Student Organization.
Okay.
And, it is my entire identity at this point. Like, I never thought I would be that mom, but my kid's in middle school, and I think we can all assume that middle school is universally awful.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has to be, man.
It's just gotten worse.
I would assume it's gotten way worse.
It's just gotten worse. Yeah.
The pandemic, these kids left school in like 4th grade and didn't go back to school until like in the middle of 6th grade, and it was a brutal.
And everybody's changing at that time. Everybody's going through a different period.
Yeah. And so we have for so long just accepted the fact that it's awful, and I am a button pusher, and I'm like, but what if it doesn't have to be? Like, what if we make it frivolous and fun and like warm and loving? And so the teachers are doing an excellent job of teaching the subject matter, but there needs to be this like parental movement of just like, hey, baby, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So we're planning the Halloween festival right now. And it's in the midst of this book tour. So I'm just like, book, Halloween haunted house. Book, haunted house. And so, I was in the city on Monday doing live with Kelly and Mark. And it was like, cool. This is so cool. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
I got to get my ass back to the farm because we got a PTSO meeting tonight.
But isn't that also like, I feel like that is so cool. And I mean, you can find that balance in a lot of different parts of this country, but like having Manhattan be here in the heart of everything, and like this is I think the best city in the world. And if you like, you don't have to go too far for you to find your sanctuary.
It allows you to compartmentalize in a really healthy way, because I don't want them to know all the stuff I'm involved in down here. And I don't need people down here to know all the stuff I'm involved in up there.
Yep.
No, it's a nice way to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Do your kids like you being involved?
To my face, they're like, yeah, Mom, it's fine. No, what's cool is that with your children, you have to model what you want them to do. And my son was having a rough go with this reentry period in middle school. And I was like, join a club, do the thing. And then I realized I wasn't joining in on stuff. And so once I started helping out, he joined newspaper and he's doing drama club. And now he's joining in. And that's something that's hard to remember when you're juggling work and kids and home and all the things. Yeah. You have to do it. You have to like show them how. You can't just tell them to. Especially these kids, because they lived in a bubble for years. They don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It's a hard balance, and I think coming out of not having to really socialize that much is so hard.
Do they use iPads?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like the rules, man. The parents that are like, we don't eat sugar, we don't use iPads.
No, I meant like at school.
Oh.
Like, is there textbooks iPads? Like, I don't mean your kids using iPads. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, listen.
No,
I need a minute.
No, I mean like the like, I remember when we were leaving, when I was graduating high school, like 2 years after, they got rid of all books and all textbooks and it became strictly iPads. And I was like, I think I would hate that because I like the act of like actually writing things down to remember things. And when I heard everything switched to iPads, I was like, oh, I don't like that.
In the pandemic, everything was on the laptop. And so when they re-entered school, they tried to maintain everything on the laptop. And I know that my own personal home situation is that I don't have the executive functioning to do things on a screen. I have to write everything out. I wrote every word of this out by hand before I typed it up. And my son's the same way. And when I went into the school and spoke to them about executive functioning skills and people having different strengths, there were these teachers that were like, we miss paper. Yeah. So this year it was an option to have a paper planner, and there's much more like book work and stuff.
And that is why you are in the PTSO.
Well, it was, and it wasn't just me. I think there were a lot of people being like, paper, please.
Yeah.
It's people have different skill sets, and we like to write things down. It's a different way to manifest.
Definitely.
Even if it's your 7th grade math homework.
That's true.
I do want to talk to you a little bit about the podcast because it's one of my favorite things. We spoke to you, I believe, before the podcast had come out because it was 2020. So 2021, you guys do release Drama Queens. You're in season 5 now. Of
you guys
Rewatching.
set the tone. I was like, podcasting seems fun.
Oh my! And honestly, like it was just the best idea ever. And I think so many people love One Tree Hill, and hearing you guys go through it again is so special because I do feel a real honesty from all of you too talking about it, which I love because people kind of sometimes people tiptoe around their show when they're doing these rewatch podcasts are massive now. And they they don't want to make people upset or do this, but it's like I want to hear how you really went through all this and what you think about it now. So what was the biggest surprise for you going into making this podcast?
Oof, I mean, people have been upset with me since I left the show, right? So it's like, there was nothing to lose. All right, cool. I already pissed all you guys off. I'm watching someone that I don't know, right? Like that's 21, 22-year-old me. And so the distance between who I am now and that person, I feel like I'm watching one of my kids. And so I have found that I've become really protective of that person, but also like a stern parent the way I am with my kids. Like, oh, really? That's your best work? Yeah. Okay. Mommy's proud of you. There's just a separation that allows me to enjoy it without feeling like I'm bragging or something. Like I can say like, shit, that was awesome without feeling like I'm even talking about myself. But I also think it's important to talk about the hard stuff because there's lots of young women coming up through the industry. And when it's your first job and something gross is normalized, you have no touchstone for what's real or what it should look like. And so if our show can be the thing that's like, hey, hot tip, kids, don't go to dinner with your boss, till 1 o'clock in the morning because nothing good can come of it. That's important.
Right. Yeah. Did you expect to get so honest when you first started, or did things start coming out and you were like, all right, this is the path I want to go on now?
I think the only way to do it was to be super honest. And I'd already ripped all the Band-Aids off, like with writing Rural Diaries, my first book. And the whole Me Too movement just kind of like put me in a position where I was pregnant with my daughter And I was all of a sudden like thrust into a lot of conversations, and I just felt like I had nothing to lose anymore. You know, if I wasn't going to name names, if I wasn't going to just like tell all the gory details so that people actually cared, then nothing was going to change. And I'm really fortunate that my husband was so wonderful about it, because I was like, I might not ever work again. And he was just like, cool, I got it. You're good.
You, of course, you grew up with Sophia and Joy. You've been on this journey together, but doing a show is so different now, like rewatching it. What have you, are there like a couple things that you've learned now about those two while doing the podcast?
I was literally just talking to my publicist out in the hallway about this. When Sophia first moved to North Carolina to start doing the show, you know, I'm riffraff from Virginia. You know, I'm the public school kid. Nothing fancy about me. She was from like Pasadena. She was the Rose Bowl queen. Oh my God, she was like so pretty. And I just assumed that she was like great with boys. And only in our adulthood, she's like, Hilarie, I went to an all-girls school. Like One Tree Hill was the first time I was hanging out with like a lot of boys. And I was like, that's crazy to me that One Tree Hill was her first real high school experience, you know, like the Americana co-ed situation. And I just never, ever realized that. And the same thing for Joy. Yeah. Joy's like, hell, I was working on a soap opera.
Right.
Like, you're the only one that high schooled your brains out. Yeah. And maybe that's why I was so bossy on the show, is that I really did have a great home experience, and was like, this isn't what high school is. Like, cheerleaders are supposed to wear their hair in a really tight ponytail so we don't get hurt during stunts. I was serious about the accuracy, you guys.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To a fault.
So funny.
Yeah.
You know, everyone else is like, calm down, it's the WB.
But it's so funny because we think the same things watching these shows back. We're like, why is their hair down all the time? Or like,
you can't stunt with your hair.
Yeah, I know. She's the Man comes to mind when like Amanda Bynes is running around playing soccer with her hair down. You're like, there's just no way. There's no way her hair would be flowing in the wind like that.
No. Yes. No, the accuracy is really important when you're like 22 and you're like, you guys don't understand.
What has been, so you've gone through 5 seasons. What's been your favorite season to rewatch?
I mean,
or you're almost, you know,
we're in 5 right now, and I'm digging 5.
You're like,
we just finished up 5, and it was awesome because we were finally playing our real age. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that stressed us out, like the teenage drinking and sexuality, and like setting a tone for that new normal that was happening in the early 2000s, that wasn't my high school experience. Yeah. And so when we had to play it, I was like, what? Like, you guys want us to be Melrose Place, but we're supposed to be 16.
Yeah.
Once we got to be our own age and just like go nuts, I was there for it. I loved it.
Isn't it crazy that that has also like not changed too? Like the shows that are on now that are high school are also just so insane. Like people watch Euphoria and you're like, no.
I don't remember this.
My son's middle school is attached to the high school, so I'm literally in the building like twice a week, every single week. And so when Euphoria came out, I was like, what?
You see actual 15-year-olds and you're like, you little
Right. You see what they look like. Like, no high school guy was looking like Jacob Elordi.
No, you guys. No. Like, nerd out in high school. Go through that awkward phase and like just lean into it. Yeah. It's important to have it because you don't get it later.
Right.
Sadly, you know, I don't want to keep you too long because we're already a little bit over. But I loved, and I have to mention it, and everybody's been annoyed because we've been talking about it 9 million times. But you tweeted about. Whatever it's called now, X. You tweet, you X'd, I don't know. You posted.
I still say tweet.
Yeah, about Travis Kelce inviting Taylor Swift to the game, and you were like, guys, this is the way to do it. Bring your lady to your place of work. It's sexy. It's great.
I love it. It's how my husband got me.
Yeah.
I had never dated an actor. And Jeffrey and I met. We were introduced on a blind date from my friend Danielle Ackles, who's doing my book tour tonight. And he was like, I'm doing this movie in New Mexico. I want you to come and visit me before you go off to Paris. Because I'd rented this apartment in Paris, like right by Notre Dame. Like, I was going to write my book.
Yeah.
Right? And I was so serious about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to visit this man at work. I have never been the +1 at work. Like, that is not my vibe. And I went. And and I would sit in a chair behind the monitor and watch him work. And he was so nice to everybody and really, really good at his job. And I was like, I guess I'm not going to Paris. I'm just going to, I blush still thinking about it. I was like, I'll just stay here in New Mexico.
You can see it on your face. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I still get girly.
I think, I mean, you guys are adorable, and, you know, it feels like recently there's just been a lot of like divorce and people sharing all these things. And I hate to ask like the secret, because I feel like that always has like different, I don't know. It's like a weird marriage.
Well, it's weird to put anything on a pedestal, right?
Right, exactly.
So you're just waiting for it to get knocked off.
Yes, exactly. But I would love to know like what you guys do to really keep your relationship healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was really important, we were two very, very independent people. And we're both eldest children.
Yeah.
And we're both like overachievers and just like, no, I'm the best. No, I'm the, you know. I think we have given each other permission to be a whole person. And we overlap where we overlap, and where we don't, that's totally cool. Like my husband goes to bed at 5:30 in the morning and sleeps till 10. I go to bed at 9 and I sleep until 6 a.m. You know, and there are so many fights that we could have about the TV being on, you know, like piddly shit.
Yeah.
I just accept the fact he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to fight with you. Like, that's you, dude. I like you. You're handsome. Cool.
It's nice when you really like somebody, and that's why those little things can like not bother you, because you're like you said, you're like, I like you, so
grand scheme of things, watch your shows. You know? It's important to not be codependent and let the other person be a whole person on their own, and appreciate what that is, even when it doesn't align with what you want.
Yeah. That's great. I mean,
girl, when he found out I was a witch,
I was gonna
I'll never forget his face. He was just like, oh, all right. And it like I
feel
could
like
see
you're
him
like,
processing.
what kind of witch, you know?
And I was like, the bad kind.
Watch
the
out.
don't fuck it up kind. No.
That's funny.
But it was something that he accepted about me that was like, not my thing, but boy, you look cute doing it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, great. It's just, it's just
So
awesome. We could talk to you for forever. I
could listen
honestly,
to you talk like for hours.
No, you
honestly.
guys are so
No, I do.
I really can. I'm just
truly-
like, tell me everything.
I know, and I'm so glad you got to come in person.
Well, if you want to do PTSO, the meetings are a thrill, guys.
I would just like to sit there and listen to you like boss people around. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's awesome, and I love like catching a glimpse of your world in the books.
Thanks.
And I love the first book. This is also fantastic. I just like after we spoke on Zoom in, I guess that was probably 2020,
The dark years, yeah.
And I just like I left the Zoom, and our conversation I just thought was so great, and I was like, that was amazing,
Right.
and I just love hearing from you, and and we're just also such big fans of everything.
you.
So thank you so much for coming in.
Yes, thank you
Grimoire
so
Girl
much.
is available everywhere. You can buy it in your local bookstore, online, listen to it.
Audible, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
we're
everywhere.
You should
Exactly.
listen to it, because you have such an amazing voice and a storytelling voice. Like, no, you really do.
No,
like, I
it's-
seriously have had chills the
No.
entire
I cried after our
time
last interview.
talking to you. Like, I have had full body chills where I just feel captivated by your
You
presence.
guys are so great. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I love
you.
this office so much. I'm going to come back. So
Please
whether
do.
you guys like it or not,
Please,
we'll be back.
please come back. Thank you so much
Yes,
for coming.
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for bearing with us with the little schedule change. If you haven't listened to the Twilight episode already, go watch Twilight, then go watch our episode, and we will be talking to you again tomorrow. How soon is that? All right, bye.